The chair now recognizes Mr. Van Drew for 5 minutes.
Good morning, Mr. Oliver. Seismic air gun blasting for oil and gas has ramifications for all manner of marine life. Scientific studies show that seismic air gun noise can disturb, injure, or kill marine life from zooplankton at the base of the food web up to the fish and marine mammals at the top. In a recent study, a single seismic air gun caused massive mortality in zooplankton, a vital prey species in the ecosystem, over a 1.5-mile swath of ocean. Air gun noise can delay growth and cause body abnormalities in young scallops. Sounds from seismic air guns can cause physical damage to fish hearing structures and leading to hearing loss itself, which leaves them unable to use sound for communicating, feeding, or escaping predators. Catch rates of some commercially and recreational important fish species are known to decrease substantially in the wake of seismic air gun blasting for oil and gas. In fact, seismic air gun blasting can lead to declines in catch rates by as much as 80% of some fish species. This is concerning as healthy fish stocks are critical for our nation's fisheries continue to thrive. And I believe we all know how important the fishing industry, just alone in my state of New Jersey, it's the third largest industry. This is concerning as healthy fish stocks are critical for our nation's fisheries to continue. How would this play out for Atlantic fisheries?
Well, Congressman Van Drew, I'm not certain I understand your question, whether it was relative to right whales or fisheries. We evaluate, as does W.O.W, in their issuance of permitting activities through biological opinions, impacts on fisheries as well as essential fish habitat. So that would be evaluated through essentially a separate process.
Well, how do you propose protecting fishermen and coastal businesses if catch rates drop in the Atlantic?
I'm not aware of any specific evidence that indicates the proposed seismic activity that we're talking about would somehow directly affect catch rates, and I apologize if that information is there. I'm not aware of it.
Okay, regarding seismic surveys for oil and gas deposits off the Atlantic coast, I have heard people say, why don't we just see what's out there? They argue that it's okay to go ahead with seismic air gun surveys so that public and policymakers can weigh the pros and the cons of drilling for oil and gas in the Atlantic Ocean off of our coast. 5 companies have received permits from NOAA to conduct seismic air gun surveys in the Atlantic and are seeking final authorizations from the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management and the Department of the Interior. If these 5 companies go ahead with seismic air gun blasting in the Atlantic, will we be able to see what's out there?
I presume that if they undertake their seismic activities, that the point of doing so would be to ascertain whether and to what extent there are resources there that would warrant actual oil and gas exploration, which would also be permitted by W.O.W.
Will the public have access to the data collected by these companies on possible oil and gas deposits off of our shores?
I believe that much of the information they collect is proprietary. I think that through the EIS process, public will have access to whatever information we have, but I can't speak to every bit of information that may be proprietary to the particular companies involved.
Well, if that information will be available to the public, then why are there 5 different companies seeking permits to explore the same area?
I'm not sure I have a good answer to that, Congressman. I guess they each needed a permit, so they each applied for a permit. I suppose it could have been done under a more programmatic type single authorization request, but in this case there were 5 separate requests.
Thank you, Chairman.